Welcome to this video for the Mental Health Transformation Project, looking at how we can transfer service users that are already under CPA care or eligible care pathways onto the new care and support plan as per the transformation process. This is a two-stage process, firstly removing them off the current pathway, then adding them onto the new process by recording their key worker in the ARC form and completing Requal 10 and dialogue forms, and then completing the initial care and support plan. This transfer to the new processes should happen at the following times. For anybody that is on eligible for care that has annual reviews, you should transfer the service user onto the new care plan on the anniversary of the previous review. For any service users on CPA, these will need to be transferred to the new care plan by the 31st of April 2024 at the latest, but this can be done sooner where appropriate.
The transition away from CPA does not apply to the eating disorder services. Staff should continue to follow the CPA processes, with the exception of service users who are on the eligible for care pathway. For these service users, the steps described for removing them from CPA process should be followed.
In this first part of the video, we're going to look at how you can remove them off the current care pathway that they're on. Now, this will be slightly different if they're under CPA care than it would be if they're under eligible for care. So if they're under CPA care, the first thing you need to do is to check to see whether they have a CPA review that's booked in the future. And you can do this by navigating to their case record screen, and then in the navigation section, scrolling down until you find the care planning option. When you click on care planning, choosing
The Add Update Review
community option from the list. When you click on that, that should take you to the CPA Standard Care Management review screen, where if they have a scheduled CPA review in the future, that will appear in the scheduled section at the top of the screen. And what you need to do is you need to cancel that review. And you can do that by going to the red X at the right-hand side of the row. And if you click on that, that will take you to the cancellation screen, where you can fill in the current date and time as to when you're cancelling it. And in the cancellation reason box, you need to choose the cancelled move to new care plan option. Now, we don't currently have that in the list,
so I'm just going to select the other provider cancellation reason for now.
But by the time this starts happening, we should have the correct option in that drop-down menu for you to choose. Once you've done that, you can click on to cancel this review, and you'll get an information box just asking you to confirm that you do want to cancel this review and the associated appointment. And if you click onto the yes option, that scheduled review will have disappeared from the scheduled section. That's what you need to do if they're under CPA care. Then, if you go back to the patient's case record screen by clicking on their name, you can go back into the care planning option, and you need to remove yourself as the care coordinator stroke lead HCP by clicking onto the Add Update Care Coordinator Lead HCP option from the care planning menu. That will take you to the CPA Standard Care Management screen, where at the top you should see that you're currently added in as the care coordinator or lead HCP, and it will tell you if they're under CPA or eligible care. What you need to do to remove yourself is you need to click onto the update option. You need to put in the current date and time as to when the change happened. You need to change the current CPA level to eligible for care if it isn't already set to that. And you need to change the care coordinator or lead HCP to the option discharged eligible care. Once you've got those three options filled in, you can click onto the save option, and that will have taken you off as the care coordinator or lead HCP, and it will have put them into the dummy caseload of discharged eligible care. So that's how you remove somebody off the existing pathway that they're on. In the next part of the video, we're going to look at what you need to do to add them onto the new pathway as per the transformation processes. So once you've taken them off the old pathway, you will need to do several things to add them onto the new pathway.
You will need to create a new ARC form for them. This will replace any existing old version of the ARC form that was already created for them, if they had one, so that all of the clients will have an up-to-date version of the ARC form.
To add a new key worker to replace the care coordinator or lead HCP, you'll need to complete a RECWAL 10
and dialogue form
for the client, and you'll need to create the care and support plan for the client. Now, to do this, you can go back to the patient's case record screen by clicking on their name. In the navigation section, scroll down until you find the General Documents All Services folder. If you click onto that, that will take you to the General Documents All Services screen. And if you choose the General Documents All Services folder from the list at the left-hand side, and in there you need to scroll down and find the ARC form. So there we have the Mental Health Assessment Review and Care ARC form. And if we click onto that, this will take you to the Mental Health Assessment Review and Care Plan screen for the ARC, where you'll be able to see if one has already been created. And even if one has been created, you shouldn't be editing that. You should be clicking on to create new because the paperwork has changed. That will create a new version of the form using the new paperwork. But if there was an old version, any relevant information should have pulled through into there. If you're doing it for the first time, then you will need to fill in all the relevant information in there. So you will need to do the date and time at the top to say that when you're doing the form. You would then work your way down, completing the relevant information. But if you're doing the transition process, the key things that need to be filled in are the key worker details. So in there, if it doesn't already have it, you will need to add your name and your role, your contact details, the date that this started. We don't need to add an end date at this stage because I'm still involved in the patient's care, and you need to make sure that you click onto the add option. If you don't click onto the add option, when you save the form, it will lose your details. Now that line should have gone green and it should have given you another row where you can add in another key worker if required. So once you've added yourself as a key worker, you will need to complete a RECWAL 10 and a dialogue form for the client, complete their care and support plan, and complete their overcoming challenging times
care plan.
So if you scroll up a little bit above the key worker, you'll find that in the outcome measures section, you have the dialogue and the RECWAL 10. And for both of those, if they've previously been completed, you'll have up to the last 3 scores and the dates those were completed. But you need to create a new one. So you can click on the link to update or create the dialogue plan. And you click on to create new there.
And that would
allow you to create and save the dialogue form. And when you finish with it, you just close that down. You then need to do the same with the RECWAL 10. So click on the link, create new to create a new one. Once you've created and saved that, you can close that link down. You then need to scroll down on the ARC form to the care planning section, where you'll see that there is a link through to the care and support plan. And if you click onto that link there, that will force you to search for your patient again. But once you've searched for them, you can select to create the care and support plan. Now, there are further videos available that show you how to complete RECWAL dialogue and the care and support plan. Once you've completed that and you've saved it, you can close that extra window down. And if you scroll down a bit further, you'll find in the overcoming challenging times section, if that had previously been completed, the details from that would be displayed below this heading here. But you need to create a new one because we've changed the paperwork for that as well. So you'll see that there is a link to create the new one there. Now, unfortunately, because the new information that's been added into the Overcoming Challenging Times plan we can't get it to transfer the information from the old version into there. So you'll see that there is a note to inform you of that. So please use the following link to view the old Overcoming Challenging Care Plan prior to the 20th of November 2023. Transfer across any required information into the new version. This will only need to be done once during the transition process. And from then on, you'll use the new Overcoming Challenging Care Plan. Now, once you've done that, you shouldn't edit the old version. That's no longer used. Any changes should be done into the new version. And you'll see there's the link to open up the old version. Once you've done all those things that you need to, then you need to save that form.
Now, I would actually save before I completed the Recwall dialogue and the care plans, so that if the system crashed, I didn't lose anything that I'd done on the ARC form. But you can actually save at any point and then go back in and complete the form by using the Edit Current option.
And the new version of the ARC will then be available for everybody else to see. If you then go down to the index button, that will take you back to the main page where you can see how many times it's been completed, who it's been completed by, and you can click onto the most recent one to go and view the information in the form and edit it if need be using the Edit Current option.